When I was 13, only 40% of the users of the internet are real people. 12 years later, 4% of the users of the internet are real people. My fear is websites that monetize with advertisements will not have real people that will go to the websites. Scraping is becoming more and more a tool for agents for giving knowledge about what they have to do.
If you trust a tool that gives you the 95% of the time the correct responses, you don't check it anymore, the responses, and then it happens that you have the 5% of the times the wrong responses. It's quite alarming, but depends from the context, of course.
This interview is brought to you by databoutique.com, a marketplace for web data.
Hi everyone, welcome to Scraping Insights. In this new episode we have Marco Vinciguerra, the co-founder of ScrapeGraphAI, one of the most interesting companies in the web scraping ecosystem. Hi Marco.
Hi Pierluigi, how are you?
Fine, thank you. You?
Everything good.
Just to mention to our audience, we are not relatives. We have the same surname, same last name, but we didn't know each other until last year.
Yeah, it was a serendipity case, I think, how we met each other.
Yeah. So tell us a bit more about you, Marco. What's your journey in scraping industry? How did you came to ScrapeGraphAI? What were the first steps of your companies with other co-founders? Tell us a bit more about the journey.
I'm Marco from ScrapeGraph. I have 24 years old, and basically I never scraped anything till 2 years ago. In 2023, I was in Latvia doing my Erasmus study plan, and I had to do the testing and software validation course, and one of the assignment of my exam was like the scraping assignment, and basically I never had the experience of scraping, and I realized during this test that I didn't know anything about HTML because of my background. And I said, okay, since people don't use this, are using ChatGPT for everything, why I cannot send the HTML content to a ChatGPT interface or some LLMs to extract the data that I need. And I kept this idea till January 2024. And since then, in January 2024, I contacted two of my friends, Marco Perini and Lorenzo Padoan, and we started this experience, like just for fun, just for having a kind of a CV experience for working for a good company. And in February 17, 2024, we started the first the releases of the library. And since then, the rest is history, basically.
Yes, the GitHub repository, I was saying that attracted a lot of attention, a lot of stars from the community. I think now you have 18K stars, more or less.
Yeah. 18K and 100, I think.
How it was for you to see such a sign of success of your repository?
I don't consider that as a success because I was just a kid that was having fun. I was having fun with my friends and writing code just for doing something in my free time. And at the beginning, I remember that in one day we did 5x of visits in one day from the normal, traffic. And I was like scared. I was like, okay, maybe there is something wrong. There is something that is doing a DOS attack on us. And in reality, there were just people that were looking for infos inside the library. But for me, it's just the reality. I'm pretty satisfied about the results, but we are just at the beginning. So I want to do more.
Great. And I was curious about that. How did you share the news about your repository? How did you post on Hacker News, Product Hunt? Did you do some advertising or something like that?
No, it was just organic traffic. I remember the sequence was like I had 100 stars on GitHub, and I've sent a message on LinkedIn to Gabriele Venturi, that is the founder of Pandas AI, and I said, "You are my inspiration," and he put stars on the repository. After 2 days, there was like a LangChain, how can I say, post about us. And the rest is history, because from that moment, people started to make web videos, blog posts about us. But honestly, I didn't do anything. It's not, how can I say, there was no marketing research behind that. No study plan, no idea about how making money. I was just a kid that was having fun, and we had a lot of traction, basically.
Yes, it's the perfect example of product-led growth. So you have a good product and people talk about it. Micro-influencers or other people talk about it, and then you get a lot of traction and new people using it. And yes, tell us a bit more about ScrapeGraphAI. If I remember correctly, let me feel free to correct me if I did not understand something. So, as far as I understand, you created this project where you have nodes that are functions that are grouped into graphs that are basically workflows of single nodes. And depending from the graph you are using, with ScrapeGraphAI, you can create a scraper. You can scrape directly from a website. You can scrape from a single page or multiple pages. Is that correct?
Yeah. The small portion of the library are nodes, and the definition for us of nodes are scripts, unit scripts, atomic scripts that do something. So, for example, a node can extract content from the internet, so basically fetching from through an HTTP request. Another node can convert to Markdown, because we decided to work on MD because it's more understandable from the point of view of LLM. Another can generate the response, for example. And the concatenation of node creates graphs, and each graph is a unique workflow. So, for example, there is a graph that can extract information from CSV, HTMLs, and another from just Markdown files, and so on. I think it's your definition was pretty good.
Thank you. And so what impressed me while using ScrapeGraphAI for my small test I created was the idea that you are not attached to a single provider of model, which is basically mostly many other similar solutions. They bind you to mostly to OpenAI or other LLMs, while you gave us the chance to choose almost every LLM out there. You can use OpenAI, Mistral, DeepSeek, Grok. Yeah. So that's pretty interesting. And another idea which I found very interesting was not only to get the Markdown or parsed HTML, but also to create the code for a scraper, which in my opinion is one of the key elements for using AI in web scraping in the future. Yeah.
The context of this graph is, the name is code generator graph, if I remember correctly. And basically the idea behind that is like some websites are very big and they cost a lot in terms of a context window because they are very big. the idea is like, okay, the output of my graph could be like a Python script that uses Beautiful Soup for extracting data, because as already told you, I do not understand too much correctly how to scrape some website because they are too tricky, there are too much stuff to do. Okay, and I was like, when I understood that, I said, okay, I can. Sometimes I use ChatGPT and OpenAI for creating scripts. It can, and why don't use that for creating script for extracting data from the websites? So that was my idea.
Yes. And do you have, in your experience with ScrapeGraph, any preferred model for extracting data from or parsing the HTML? Did you see any difference from any model with a less hallucination, more or less?
Regarding the local models, because we also support Llama, I really like Llama 3.2 because it's my favorite one, 8 billion quantized, and is my favorite one. Instead, regarding the, how can I say, API models style, I really like GPT-4o Mini because it's cheap and fast. Sometimes I think that also Mistral can do a pretty good job. And I think that Claude is the best one for generating scripts.
Yeah, and instead for generating code, do you have any other preferred model?
Yeah. Claude 3.5 Sonnets.
Great. And one of the challenges of using API, at least the OpenAI models, that the dimension of the web pages are too big for being ingested from the models. Is there a way we can do what we can do for solve this challenge? What we can do?
In my case, in my library, when I generated the answer from before generating and sending to OpenAI, in this case, I written code for using the tick token library that can, how can I say, predict the input context window. So in my thumb rule, I decided to add a thumb rule where I use 0.9%, 90% of the input and 10 for the output, and I use overlapping, how can I say, tokenization. And after that, I written a portion of code where basically it merges all the responses from the previous answer to the LLMs. So I think that in my case it worked. I don't know if there are any other solution. If someone in the comments can provide me, I would be very glad to implement it in the library.
Well, what I tried working was something similar. I played around with OpenAI APIs, and basically what I did was to split the HTML in chunks, and then always with tick token, I think, and then add the portions of the HTML in the context. Sorry. So basically, adding recursively in the context several portions of the HTML, and then after all the portions of the HTML were passed to the context, then ask for the solution. Another test I tried, which seems to me more effective in terms of your resources, could be after doing this tokenization of the splitting in chunks of the code, to ask to the GPT model, okay, now you have all the code, please look for the meaningful code for the target data structure we have in mind. So maybe it can help also in the generation of the output.
You basically you cut the information that are not relevant in this way.
Yeah. Yes, I tell to GPT to cut it because I don't know where it is. Maybe it can help. I don't know if it's a way solution.
The previous method that you suggested, the first one. My question is like, if I gradually add information, I think that is very slow because, how can I say, you cannot make a sync request. So basically it's like a kind of for loop, synchronous for loop. So I think that is a matter of trade-off between my and yours opinion about that.
Yes, even because I think that this approach is really great for creating the code of a scraper. But if you need to scrape a large website, LLMs in general are too slow for doing this task. You need, and expensive also. So you need to probably
minimize,
generate the code for the scraper. Let's say for the smaller task, probably it's best to use a direct approach where you ask directly the data to the LLM, because let's say scraping, I've learned in these 10 years that is not black or white. There's a huge amount of use cases where you can apply scraping, which comes from a sort of web automation with data retrieval. So maybe you have only one website where you need to retrieve, let's say, the price of a flight or something like that. And this can be done greatly with a live query to LLM. While instead, if you have huge scraping from, let's say, Zalando.com or whatever website, e-commerce website with millions of products, you cannot query millions of time an LLM for extracting data because it will be extremely painful and expensive compared to actual solutions. So again, it's a trade-off. That's why I think the approach of ScrapeGraphAI is great because it gives you the tools for choosing if you want the code or if you want to query directly the website.
Yeah,
I've seen that also you recently released the ScrapeGraph API. So what's about this business? So what is it a way to monetize your job also?
Since I think June 2024, people started to say, I really like your library, but we cannot put it in production because from the infrastructure cost point of view, it costs too much. Because one of, as we already said before, one of our point of strength is like that we support every LLM providers. But this is one of the biggest limitation also because since the library is too heavy, and therefore you can it's very expensive to put in infrastructure, for example, in AWS, because you need the kind of a queuing system for the request, and you also need how can I say kind of browser, headless browser that opens and closes every time the website. So we decided to make it the APIs because in this way we can monetize our product. And one thing that I want to say that the APIs are not the libraries put it on cloud. It's like a lightweight and more fault tolerant version of ScrapeGraph because we use many LLMs inside the APIs. And we also have a fault tolerance and fallbacks models. So basically, for example, if we use OpenAI behind the scenes, if OpenAI is down, we can switch to our other providers that we decided to use, for example, Mistral, or vice versa. It depends by the situations, basically.
That's very interesting. And is there in your plan to create your own model for tailored for web scraping, or do you think that actual models are good enough?
it could be one of our next steps because I think we have the dataset for doing that, and it could be a great idea. If the performance are good, we will put it in production instead of using general models. We can use like a small LLM instead of kind of these big LLM providers, and we can maybe give more better performance, basically.
Yes, and I think that is a great challenge for you and your team to keep up and running this API. What are the main challenges you're facing? And I suppose the infrastructure one is a good challenge.
Basically, we started with no knowledge, and we had to understand and learn during the process. So this was the biggest challenge. So it was not like a kind of it was actually it's not difficult for us for redoing something like that. The most difficult part was like understanding how to do that.
And you cannot ask to ChatGPT
No.
because it's something new. No, not really.
Yeah, it was very actually it was a very hard how can I say challenge from my point of view. So
yes,
by now I think that the API are good.
Great. And do you have the first customers? How was the growth?
We released like 1 month and a half ago the APIs, and we have like 70 customers that are paying with recurring billing. So I'm happy to do that. I'm also happy about the results. We are also closing some deals with enterprise, and I'm more happy.
Yes, that's ideal. That's ideal for a young startup because recurring revenues are something that investors are looking for. So good to you that you're billing for them. And generally speaking, if you think about AI and the web scraping industry, what do you think the future looks like? Do you think that in the near 5 years, the web scraper professional is no longer needed, or AI will be able to do everything, or we'll have I don't know, instead more web scrapers because web scraping thanks to AI is more accessible?
Yeah, when I was 13, so basically in 2013, when one of the news that I heard and I was really impressed about that is was that only 40% of the users of the internet are real people. I think that 11, 12 years later is like I think just 4% of the user of the internet are real people. In particular, from 2024, there are a lot of how can I say increment of use of agents, and I think that agents for moving requires a lot of scraping, and so scraping is becoming more and more required, not just for creating data sets, for example, or for extracting information from the internet, but for moving these agents. So I'm having what can I say, in these periods, I'm going to have like a different view of scraping that is not creating data sets, but moving and thinking about agent. In my opinion, even if we have AGI, agents need scraping because they cannot have access of every information about the world. Otherwise, for hosting an agent with AGI and general knowledge, they will require a lot of terabytes of RAM, I think.
Yes. I agree because I think there are two layers of scraping or better, two layers of how scraped data can be used by AI. The first layer is the most, let's say, traditional one. So you scrape data from Reddit or whatever source you need to train your model. So you need the all good scraping where you harvest data from whatever sources you have to train the model. And then, of course, you mentioned it before, also to make the agent take the next move correctly. Because, as you mentioned, agents need to understand what the task they have received. Let's say booking the cheapest flight from Rome to Milan for the next weekend.
Yeah, basically for giving knowledge inside the scraper, inside the agent. So I think that scraping is becoming more and more a tool for agent for giving knowledge about what they have to do. And I think also is a kind of matrix scene where they put floppy disk inside the Neo. I think that it's a kind of scene like that.
Yes, and I'm afraid that this agentification of everything will trigger more and more antibots because if you think about it, if we all use agents to book flights or whatever we do on the internet, websites will lose their, let's say, power because we are not asking to booking.com or whatever website. We are not going to the website and look for the best deal, scroll 100 of pages of hotels and so on, but we'll ask to OpenAI agent or whatever agent to have a look for us, and ideally, maybe also the agent will book the flight for us. So there's no people going to the website and no ads for the website. Of course, the commissions maybe they will be kept by the website because the final action of booking the flight will be on the website. But I'm afraid that it will be a great disruption for what we have, for what's the internet today. I'm afraid that there will be more polarization of the revenues from internet.
In my opinion, from the point of view about revenues from the ADV, they will collapse because we will not going to the website with ADV. So the website cannot monetize as it was before. But imagine that instead of going to booking, you ask to an agent for booking. I think that is pretty similar, this interaction, because booking will have a book, basically. So it will monetize. And if there are direct APIs from OpenAI and booking, I think that from the revenues point of view, I think that it will not change too much. My fear is like for websites that monetize with advertisements, that will not have real people that will go to the websites. But sometimes I'm happy because I hate websites with how can I say fake news on that on the bottom of the website. So I'm happy for them that will collapse.
Yes, totally right. In some cases, let's think about Stack Overflow. Mm-hmm. Well, if people is not going to Stack Overflow because they ask everything to ChatGPT, Stack Overflow will collapse. But then, who's going to train ChatGPT then? If Stack Overflow will die.
In this case, I agree with you. Yeah.
So this can be a challenge, and yes, I'm afraid that in the near future we'll see more and more paywalls and restriction on websites because let's say also newspapers, but any valuable content on the internet. I think that the owner of this content will not be happy to get this content extracted and see no revenue for them.
Yeah, right now there are also robots.txt files, and in this way you can block to your website to be scraped from agents like Perplexity or ChatGPT. In the future, I don't know, maybe Cloudflare will become a multi-billion company if it's not right now.
Yeah, yes. In the news, I've heard that these robot.txt files are not so followed by the same companies that are giving instruction to the website so they not comply with the robot.txt.
Okay.
Let's see what will happen in the future. And yes, another biggest fear I have on relying on LLMs for our daily tasks are hallucinations. Do you think that with more training and more maturity of the models, we'll see less hallucinations in the responses of LLMs?
Yeah. One of the solution about hallucination is to reduce the context window and make more calls. But in the future, I think that LLMs will become more and more performant. When I started with ScrapeGraph, I was using just ChatGPT, OpenAI 3.5 Turbo, if I remember correctly, and it had a lot of hallucinations. Right now, when I use, for example, on ScrapeGraph, when I use GPT-4o Mini, it has less hallucination. I don't know if we will reach a limit about this kind of information, but right now I'm looking more and more, how can I say, better results.
Yes, I feel confident about that too, because I remember I had the same experience you described before. I tried with OpenAI GPT 3.5, if I remember correctly, scraping an e-commerce page because it was a test. And on e-commerce, when you scrape prices from an e-commerce, it's difficult for an LLM because you have to be extremely correct in what you extract. Because if you say $200 or 2,000, it makes the whole difference for the people who's using that data. And what I found out in 3.5 was that the prices were hallucinated quite often. Probably, I think, because LLMs are more for language models, for languages, for discursive content, not for prices or numbers.
Okay.
But yes, I've seen the same problem, but with less frequency in the latest models. But again, I think we have some road to do for getting rid of hallucination, at least in the numerical part of a website. About the content instead, the general language content. Yes, I've noticed that when the information is not in the training data set, probably the model tends to hallucinate. I was playing with an older model of GPTs, asking about the web scraping club, which were the best blogs about web scraping, and he suggested me some blogs that didn't even exist. They were plausible, names like Scraping Digest or something like that, but most of them never existed.
Cool.
So yes, that's fascinating, quite scary, because if you trust a tool that gives you the 95% of the time the correct responses, then you don't check it anymore, the responses, and then it happens that you have the 5% of the times
with hallucination,
the wrong responses, and it's quite alarming. But depends from the context, of course. And what are the next steps for ScrapeGraphAI?
Right now, we are releasing on Monday. I don't know where this episode will come out. Our product hunt post. And the next steps are to work more and more on enterprise level and become a kind of company that is specialized in extraction of data and can extract basically everything. This is our final dream.
Great. And you told me before the interview that you entered the program from NVIDIA.
Yeah.
How was this experience?
But it was pretty, how can I say, easy. It was just a form and an interview with one of the organizers. And in entering this program are like you have credits, and probably if you want to make a round of investment, you can have access to VCs that are partnership with NVIDIA.
Okay.
That's it.
Okay. So and so are you planning for any rounds or in the future?
In the future, I think yes, because we want to have a kind of sales guy that will call possible clients for us, and we want to focus more and more on developing the platform.
Great. So best wishes for these steps. And I think that we gave to our audience a good overview about ScrapeGraphAI and all the applications of LLMs in the web scraping industry. Thank you again for being here, Marco. It's always a pleasure to hear you.
Thank you too. And see you next time.
Yes, see you soon. If you don't fly to the US for your unicorn company.
Thank you.